Heute vor 43 Jahren kehrte Ruhollah Mousavi Khomeini, besser bekannt als Ayatollah Khomeini, in das ehemalige Persien, den heutigen Iran, zurück. Am 19. Februar gründete er die Islamische Republik Iran, einen islamischen Gottesstaat. Diesen Tag der Rückkehr von Ayatollah Khomeini wählte die muslimische Aktivistin Nazma Khan als den Tag aus, an dem sie den zukünftigen World Hijab Day zelebrieren wollte. Die Aktivistin, welche mit 11 Jahren aus Bangladesch nach New York kam, begründet die Feier dieses Tages damit, dass Frauen auf der ganzen Welt kundtun sollen, wie frei sie sich mit der Vollverschleierung, eben dem Hijab, fühlen. Sie wollte mit diesem Tag aufzeigen, dass eben die Vollverschleierung, der Hijab, das Kopftuch, kein Symbol der Unterdrückung ist, sondern regelrecht ein Symbol der Freiheit. Zu diesem Thema werde ich in Zukunft noch ein separates Video machen, in dem ich dann meine persönliche Meinung einfließen lasse. Aber um mich soll es heute in diesem Video nicht gehen. Heute möchte ich in Form eines Interviews eine Frau zu Wort kommen lassen, die einen Großteil ihres Lebens eben mit diesem Symbol der Freiheit für andere, das Symbol der Unterdrückung, eben leben musste. Yasmine Mohammed, eine Dozentin an der British University of Columbia aus Kanada, Menschenrechtsaktivistin, Autorin und Begründerin des No Hijab Day, welche eine Gegeninitiative zum eben vorgestellten World Hijab Day darstellen soll. Ins Leben gerufen hat sie diese Initiative im Jahr 2018. Zu diesem Thema hat sie ein äußerst interessantes Buch geschrieben, Entschleiert, mein Ausbruch aus meiner radikal-islamischen Familie, mein Weg in die Freiheit. Darin beschreibt sie ihren Ausbruch aus den Strukturen und Fängen des Islam in ein freies und selbstbestimmtes Leben ohne Verschleierung. Die Vollverschleierung ist eben ein zentraler Bestandteil ihres Buches und Gegenstand ihrer Kritik am World Hijab Day. Ich kann jedem nur wärmstens empfehlen, sich einmal mit ihrer Persona und eben auch diesem Buch zu beschäftigen, auseinanderzusetzen und vielleicht einen etwas anderen Blickwinkel auf Probleme zu bekommen, die muslimische Frauen auch im Westen, eben nicht nur in Ländern wie Afghanistan, Iran, Irak oder Saudi-Arabien, haben. Alle notwendigen Links zu ihrem Werk und eben auch der Initiative findet ihr unten in der Beschreibung. Ich hatte die große Ehre, an diesem Interview mitwirken zu dürfen. Geführt wurde dieses Interview von einer guten Freundin von mir, Nadja Hühnermann, Betreiberin der Instagram-Seite Modern Enlightenment. Nun aber genug geredet. Wie gesagt, in diesem Video soll es nicht um mich gehen. Ich möchte, dass ihr bitte ganz aufmerksam zuhört und vielleicht schafft es der ein oder andere, einen fruchtbaren Gedanken aus diesem Gespräch herauszutragen. Ich möchte mich vorab noch einmal ganz besonders bei Yasmin bedanken, dass sie uns eben diese Möglichkeit, diese Gelegenheit gegeben hat, auch hierzulande auf dieses wirklich, wirklich wichtige Thema aufmerksam zu machen und vielleicht ein Stück weit ein Bewusstsein zu schaffen für Probleme, die in unserer Gesellschaft ebenfalls stattfinden, aber häufig nicht gesehen werden. Gesehen werden, vielleicht so wie die vielen Frauen, die tagtäglich verschleiert durch unsere Straßen laufen.
Today we will have a short talk with my guest here, Yasmine Mohammed. Hi, Yasmine. So happy to have you here today.
Hello.
And we're going to talk a bit about the No Hijab Day, which happens to be on the 1st of February. And yeah, we just will ask Yasmine some questions about the hijab and her experiences with it. So, Yasmine, you're a promoter of the hashtag Free from Hijab. And in relation to this hashtag, you regularly share the pictures and stories of Muslim or ex-Muslim women who removed their headscarves. And you are also the main initiator of the No Hijab Day, right? Which is kind
That's
of an
right.
answer or a protest against the World Hijab Day, which was brought to life by Nazma Khan in 2013. And yeah, which also happens to be on the 1st of February.
That was on purpose.
On this day, the World Hijab Day, people aim to promote the hijab and to show it in a kind of positive way, to claim that it is something empowering and something feminist, and yeah, to say that it is a choice whether or not you want to wear it. Yasmine, can you tell us what exactly was your motivation to initiate the No Hijab Day?
Sure. So as you described, the World Hijab Day was basically trying to convey this tool of misogyny that has gotten women killed all over the world, that gets women attacked with acid, their faces deformed, you know, that women are abused and, you know, disowned by their families. Like women are imprisoned. It has caused much trauma for so many women all around the world, not only in Muslim majority countries, but all over the West as well. And they had the audacity to have World Hijab Day and to pretend, as you said, to pretend that it is a feminist, you know, symbol, that it's an empowering thing. And it was just so insulting. It was so repulsive to me. I was so angry. And I only joined Twitter in 2016, and I only became familiar with this because in 2016, on that day, my Twitter feed was filled with all of this World Hijab Day stuff from big companies, big corporations, sometimes from politicians. It was unbelievable how far the propaganda had spread. And I just got such a, like, I felt so sick and so angry. I was so enraged that I got this migraine headache, and I spent the rest of the day in bed. I just didn't know what, like, my body was, it just shut down. I was so upset. And I decided then that I was going to fight back, that I wasn't going to just be angry, but that I was going to retaliate. And that's why I started using the hashtag No Hijab Day on February 1st to directly counter the propaganda from the Islamist Nazma Khan and all of her supporters. And, you know, initially, it didn't surprise me to see that there were a lot of people that were saying, yes, I'm so glad that you've created this hashtag, you know, women from Algeria, women from Saudi Arabia, women from all over the world. But what did surprise me was how much pushback I got from people in the Western world calling us, Arab women who grew up in Muslim households, calling us Islamophobic, calling us hateful. It just really adds salt to the wounds, you know? It just adds insult to injury. And you just feel like it pushes you to fight more and to scream louder. And that's what we did. We just kept doing that. And as you mentioned, we have No Hijab Day once a year, but we use the hashtag Free from Hijab all year long. So we're always posting. You know, we're just people with social media accounts. That's it. You know, we're not like the governments of, you know, Qatar and Turkey, and we don't have the Islamist money that these people that are spreading this propaganda have. We don't have their support systems. We don't have their media connections. So we have to do what we can to try and let the world know that they are lying to you. And you're not getting the full story. And listen to us. We're trying to tell you what's happening. And that's also why we have the hashtag Let Us Talk, because they keep on trying to silence us, not only the Muslims, but also free Western liberal secular people in the West. So we also started the hashtag Let Us Talk to, you know, ask people to just leave us alone. Let us tell our stories.
So Yasmine, we learn in your book that you were forced to wear the hijab from the age of 9 years onward, right? So what was the moment that you decided that you've had enough and that you will remove your hijab?
Well, those are two different moments. Because the moment that I felt like I had had enough was very early on. I hated this thing. I hated it for so many reasons. Very briefly, like the main reasons I'll say were it stripped me of my childhood immediately. So at 9 years old, that's it. No more that you get told, oh, you're a woman now. And so there's no more, you know, if you laugh too loud, they say, oh, no, that's rude. You can't be, you have to lower your voice. You have to sit properly. You can't play anymore. You can't do anything. Like now it's like you were supposed to be this ambassador for Islam. You have like the word Muslim tattooed on your head with this hijab. And every time anybody looks at you, sees you, they don't see me. They don't see Yasmine. They see Muslim girl. That's another reason why I hated it, was because it stripped me of my individuality. I was not an individual. I was a thing. Of course, all of the other things too, the victim blaming that comes with the hijab, you know, you're constantly being told that you are a source of evil, you're a source of chaos in the world, and so you have to cover yourself so that you don't cause men to do horrible things, because that will be your fault because you didn't cover yourself up head to toe. So there's that pressure, constantly feeling ashamed of your body, feeling ashamed of who you are. There's the slut shaming, the superiority, where you're being told that the hijab separates the good women from the bad women, basically from the good Muslims to the slaves, essentially, to the non-Muslim slaves. That sense of constant separation between the good women and the bad women too. And then there's levels of good women. You have to cover yourself even more and more and more and more and more, to the point that I was covered head to toe in black. I wore black gloves. My face was covered. I didn't even have the slits that you see people have. And still, it's not enough. It's never enough. There's always going to be something. It's, oh, your voice was out. Through your voice, you were enticing men. Oh, why are you walking like that? Are you trying to entice men? It's just this constant pressure where you're always feeling like there's something wrong with you and you need to be hidden away. And then, of course, there's other parts, like the fact that it's a sensory deprivation chamber. It's a mobile prison. You can't hear properly. You can't see properly. I was wearing gloves. I couldn't touch things properly. All of my senses were muted. I mean, I had had enough of it from the minute I put it on my body. I always hated it. But I was so scared. This is the thing, is the fear. The fear is so intense. They really drill into you from birth, you know, from as soon as you can understand. They tell you about how you will be punished if you don't follow the rules of Islam, how you will burn in hell, and how you will have all of these punishments in the grave, and in such detail, you know. So I continued wearing it because I was terrified of not wearing it. And I only had the courage to finally take it off. It was around 9/11. I was in university, and I was also taking a course called History of Religions. So in that course, I was able to critically examine Islam in a way I was never allowed to before, because I was attending Islamic schools. And so finally, I was able to question. You know, I was never allowed to do that before. I was intellectually bombarded and then also emotionally bombarded because 9/11 had happened. And so both of those things happened at the same time. And then I started to feel like I wanted to take steps away from the control that this religion had on me. And I hadn't decided that I didn't want to be Muslim, but I just wanted to have some freedoms. And removing the hijab is like a dog removing their collar, or a slave removing their shackles. It really is such a moment. Like, you really feel like I'm making a decision for my own body for the first time. And the way that people around you react is unbelievable. Like they truly act as if you personally hurt them, even though you've made a decision about your own body, has nothing to do with them. But it's like, how dare you claim your power? You must remain subjugated. You must understand that you are lesser than, and you must keep this on your body so that you never forget that you are different and that you are less. And so when you take it off, it's like you are refusing their gender apartheid. You're saying, no, I'm not different. and they find that so threatening. That was when I was finally able to take it off. And I have to say here that it was actually the fact that I had a daughter really was very meaningful, because she was about 3 years old at the time, and I didn't want her to know me with hijab. I only wanted her to remember me as a strong, empowered feminist. I didn't want her to remember me as somebody who wore something because she was forced to wear it. I wanted to be a role model
So,
for her.
how old were you when you took it off?
I was, well, it was a gradual process, because there's no short
Okay.
answers for anything you're asking me. So you read my book, so you remember that it was actually a few years where I was wearing it during the day in my university, but then at
Right.
night I would take it
Okay.
off when I went out
Yeah,
with my
I
friends
remember, yeah.
drinking. Yeah. And then, yeah, and then after that, I got a job at an Islamic school teaching. And so then during the day, I would wear the hijab at school. And then when I would go
Okay.
home, I would take it off. And it was just like this slow process where I finally was able to remove it in every single aspect of my life except for my mother. She was the last person that I notified in my life that I wasn't wearing the hijab anymore.
So how did your family react then when they first saw that you removed your hijab?
So that's when my mom threatened to kill me. She said that if I took off my hijab, then the next step would be that I would leave Islam. And she needed to make sure that I was killed before that happened, because she felt like she needed to repent to Allah, because she had a daughter who was, she didn't want Allah to punish her because of my sins. She said, if you leave Islam, then I'm going to be punished for having an infidel daughter. So I need to make sure I kill you before you become an infidel. So it was very logical for her. And of course, I suspected that that's what she would say, because I know the religion and I know the rules of it and how it works. And I figured that's what she would say. Plus, she was always telling me, we'll just kill you, bury you in the backyard, and then we'll tell everybody you moved to Egypt. That's a common thing that in the Muslim school, practically all of the girls are hearing that from their families at home. Honor killing it's not an idle threat. It's a part of our lives. We know people who have disappeared. Every single one of us does. A girl that they say, oh, she went to Pakistan, and that's it. You never hear from her again. Um, and it's always the girls that were too Western, the ones that asked too many questions, the ones that were too strong, too smart. Um, so that's how my family reacted. And so I got myself and my daughter away, and we haven't had any contact with my mother for almost
Okay.
20 years.
Um, so do you have a message to those who frame the hijab as something positive and empowering and who ignore all of these sufferings that you just told us about?
Do I have a message that is not going to just be a bunch of swear words?
Yeah.
It's really hard to express how infuriating, how upsetting it is to see such a betrayal, to see women with power betray women without power
Mhm.
so easily, so carelessly. It is it's repulsive. It's absolutely repulsive. I just don't understand how any human being can ignore all of the atrocities and all of the terrors that these women
Yeah.
are living under. But I feel like even if you want to ignore it, that's your business and I respect you, that's fine, because we're human beings and we only have so much energy and so much time in the day. And so if you don't want to spend your time like you're doing today, if you don't want to spend your time supporting us, helping us to elevate our voices, you would rather spend your time and energy doing other things, that's fine. I respect you for that. But I absolutely have no respect for the women who actively work against us, you know, like the politicians from, you know, from Sweden and from all over the world who put the hijab on, you know, when they're meeting with Afghan terrorists, the Taliban, or when they're meeting with the Islamic Republic of Iran. They are choosing to subjugate themselves temporarily, you know, when they have the choice of saying no. They don't have to wear it. They could make a stand for women, you know, but they are choosing to act against us. Or, of course, when you see the hijab on the cover of magazines or in advertisements or in movies or all over media, pretending that it's just a benign fashion statement, that it's no different from wearing, you know, a blue shirt or a red shirt, you know, like they pretend that it doesn't mean anything when they normalize it and they celebrate it, you know, on the cover of magazines too, not just like, it's everywhere. On every flat surface you look, there's a hijab. It's so devastating for the women who fight, literally risking their lives for their personal autonomy and their personal freedom, to see the free West that could reach their hand out in support, instead reaching their hand out to hold those women down.
That's actually an argument that I often read or hear, like it's just a piece of cloth, where I think to myself, maybe it's for you, but for so many women on Earth, it isn't, you know. Do you have the impression that the No Hijab Day campaign has made a difference so far? And do you think that there could be maybe kind of a trend change so that more and more women are standing up to their oppression?
You know, that's a difficult question for me to answer because I'm in my little bubble. So in my bubble, I am just bombarded with women all the time, stories, pictures, like constantly sharing with me their experiences and what they've been through. My inbox is full right now. I have the series called Forgotten Feminists, where I speak to women who have overcome, and so many women want to share their stories. So I feel like our voices are being heard, but I think our voices are being heard within the Muslim world, or people in the West who have Muslim families or who grew up in Muslim communities. I don't know how much we're being heard outside of that echo chamber. What's the latest thing? Duolingo, you know, it's just a language teaching app. Somebody just sent me the other day that even Duolingo, they changed their logo now, has a little hijabi girl on it. It's like it's not stopping. The tsunami of ignorance is continuing to flow. And no matter how much screaming, no matter how much we're shouting, no matter how much we're sharing our stories, it's like it still continues. And so I don't know what it's going to take for me to feel satisfied that we have broken through, but I certainly don't feel that way today. No. Like, we just started this Let Us Talk campaign less than a month ago, and the reason why is because we were being silenced. We wrote an op-ed, and Muslim groups were upset and angry because how dare we say that hijab was a tool of oppression. And so the article was taken down. The publishers apologized because we said hijab's a tool of oppression. That's like saying water is wet. Of course it's a tool of oppression, you know? And for them to to take it down and apologize and all of that stuff because the Muslim groups were complaining. You know, it's things like that that are so disheartening, that make you feel like, what progress have we made? You know, we have to keep fighting. We have to get louder. We have to do more. And this No Hijab Day, I really, really hope that more people get involved. People seem to think that it's only for Muslims or ex-Muslims. It's not. It's like I said earlier, any woman who does not wear hijab is considered a dirty. So it doesn't matter whether you're Muslim or not. You know, they're going to view us the same way. You know, it is your fight. It is my fight. It is all of our fight. And so if there's any women that believe in feminism, or any men that believe in feminism, if you are against this religious patriarchy, this misogyny, then please get involved with No Hijab Day and support these women that are fighting so hard to be free from hijab, and say, yes, we are also against this. We also don't believe that women are, you know, this shameful thing that need to be covered up. We absolutely disagree with that.
Yasmine, thank you so much for this inspiring talk. It was so nice to meet you, even if it's just over camera, but still. And to our audiences, I want to recommend again Yasmine's book. It's called Unveiled. If you want to know more about her story and about her life, you can purchase this on Amazon. It's available in English and in German, and also in other languages, I think, right?
That's right, in about 12 other languages.
Yeah. As I said, if you want to read a bit more about Yasmine and her life, I can highly recommend this. And yeah, thanks so much again.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate having this conversation with you, and you helping us to elevate our stories and elevate our voices. Thank you. You're a true feminist.